Welcome to That's My Farm. I'm Katie Sawyer here on the Pringle Ranch outside of Yates Center, Kansas. Today we'll be speaking with Beth and Dave Patterson and their daughter Becky Farha about the family's cattle operation, their custom haying business, and Beth's work on the beef advocacy front.
We have really evolved with the times, what the consumer wants and what she needs.
So stay tuned for more That's My Farm.
Closed captioning brought to you by Kansas Soybean Commission. The Soybean Checkoff Progress, powered by Kansas farmers.
That's My Farm is brought to you in part by Tallgrass Commodities, big enough to serve, small enough to care.
Welcome back to That's My Farm. I'm Katie Sawyer here on the Pringle Ranch south of Yates Center. I'm with Beth and David Patterson and their daughter Becky Farha. Welcome, and please tell me a little bit about your ranch. You guys have a long storied history. So Beth, talk to me a little bit about your family and how this all started.
In the late 1870s, my great-grandfather and his brothers came from Scotland to America, and eventually they came to this area in the latter 1880s. And they stayed here about 7 or 8 years, and then they went to Globe, Arizona area. And during that time, they would send cattle back up here to the Flint Hills to graze the native bluestem. And then after about 7 or 8 years, my great-grandfather, for social privileges and better schools, he brought his 8 children and wife back to this area and started farming and ranching. And then my grandfather ranched, and my father in the 70s built the Pringle feedlot. And then I came back in 1981 after working for 2 years after graduating from K-State in '79. Upon my grandfather's death, I came back and joined my father in the operation.
And David, where did you fit into the picture? And talk about your past and how you joined the family.
Well, I grew up in this area. My grandparents and dad were big into native haying for all my life. I went to school in Moran, Kansas, and then moved back over in this area. And then Beth and I got together in the early 2000s, and then we just kind of started working together here and taking over her family operation.
Wonderful, and we have the next generation still here on the farm. Becky, talk to me about your role in kind of growing up and then deciding to return back to the family operation.
Oh, I grew up a little bit just helping my mom kind of on weekends. I'd go with her and open gates and ride on the back of the truck. And then graduated high school in '04, went to Butler on a theater scholarship, had really no interest at the time in ranching or anything to do with it. Then kind of the same thing with my mom. My grandfather passed away in '05, and that kind of led me to taking some animal science classes. Then after Butler, went to K-State, majored in animal science, graduated in '09, kind of went off and did a few other things, and then came back December of '09, and so I've been here ever since, just helping out.
So for 5 years now, we've had 3 generations essentially on the farm, because Beth, your mother is still here and still participates kind of in some of the activities. So talk about working, in a multi-generational environment and what your family ranch and family cattle feeding operation looks like today.
Well, David does all the farming. We farm about 700 acres of corn, wheat, and soybeans, and put up about 500 acres of native bluestem. So that's David's department, and Becky and I help him as much as he needs us to. And then Becky and I kind of run the pastures. We custom graze about 300 cow-calf pairs for other people. Dave and I have a 65 head cow herd in the spring and the fall. And then we also run some steers in the summer for ourselves.
Wonderful. Well, thank you guys, and stay tuned for more on That's My Farm.
This hog is Hanover hoof for meal made from U.S. soybeans. Now, one hog isn't that impressive, but suppose we add another, and another, and another. Before long, you've got billions of hungry customers around the world all clamoring for the same thing. or soybeans. Learn more about the billion-dollar appetite of animal agriculture at beyondtheelevator.com. Brought to you by America's soybean farmers and their checkoff.
Buying a car shouldn't be this hard. And at Brown Chevrolet Buick in Wamego, it isn't. It's actually awesome. Whether you want a new or used car or truck, Toby's team can make the deal. Even if you want to custom order a new car or truck, Toby's team can make the deal. See Toby's team at Brown Chevrolet Buick in Wamego. We're awesome. That's My Farm is brought to you in part by Tallgrass Commodities. Big enough to serve, small enough to care.
Welcome back to That's My Farm. I'm Katie Sawyer here on the Pringle Ranch outside Yates Center, Kansas. Would you two ladies talk to me about the starter lot we're standing in now? Can you talk to me about the process you guys take the animals through once they arrive in the lot and kind of the feeding process and the vaccination process you guys put them through?
We receive the cattle. Most of them come from a sale barn, and so they need a lot of TLC. Usually, a lot of them have just left their mama or, you know, first time away off the farm. So we receive them and give them the native blue stem, which is excellent for them to kind of get their system worked out. We let them rest, and then we give them their first shots, and then in another couple weeks we revac and give them their black leg. But they've always got access to the native hay. We start them out on a receiving chow that's medicated, and then switch to a grain ration. We just try and keep things simple. We try and keep them close for 2 weeks, and then when we feel like they're straightened out, the best thing is to either get them out to a grass trap or to a bigger lot where and they still have access to hay and grain, but we just like to get them straightened out and then out on grass as soon as we can.
And Becky, you guys obviously are custom feeding a lot of these animals. So what's essential when you're custom feeding? Because these are obviously not your animals; they are owned by somebody else. So what does that mean for you guys? You talked a little bit about the TLC, but what else goes into custom feeding?
We try to communicate with the owner as much as possible, let him know what we're doing and when animals are sick, and he's usually pretty good about trusting our judgment. You know, if we need to go get medicine for them, and you know, like Mom said, we keep them close for 2 weeks, and if we need to walk something up and keep them by themselves, make sure they have extra water and hay and a little more care, and we just try to handle them as calmly as possible, just keep them calm and stress-free.
And it's just you two, so you know, two females working the cattle is a pretty unique situation, especially, you know, in Kansas agriculture. So motherly instinct kicks in on some of this. I mean, does the female aptitude help in any way when you guys are working these cattle, and then just keeping an eye on sickness and just cattle that maybe need a little extra TLC?
Yeah, and I think it's just how we are too. I think I grew up around my grandfather, and he was a true cattle person and gentleman, and I learned respect and patience from him. And I think years ago, you know, that's how we handled our animals, and I grew up that way, and kind of that's how. And
also you see other people when they do, you know, work cattle aggressively, it never works out. So I mean, you kind of learn from watching other people what works and what doesn't, and I've learned watching her what works best, and that's just calm. You know, we don't use a lot of, we really never use hot shots. Every once in a while take a flag or a sorting stick, but just use our hands and, you know, our body language around them.
Wonderful, thank you. Stay tuned for more on That's My Farm.
American innovation is being driven in places you might not expect by people like Brent Hayek, an Oklahoma family farmer, who recently set a world land speed record in a Ford Super Duty pickup truck powered by renewable B20 biodiesel. Advanced performance is here, now, putting America on the fast track to more jobs and energy independence. Biodiesel, America's advanced biofuel.
Tallgrass Commodities offers producers bulk commodities at a reasonable price with reliable service throughout the whole Midwest. To find out more about Tallgrass Commodities, visit tallgrass.us or call 785-494-8484.
The Kansas Wheat Innovation Center in Manhattan is rediscovering ways to get improved varieties and new genetics in the hands of farmers faster. Grower-led and checkoff-funded research initiatives are bringing about positive change. This grassroots leadership provides a strong voice in Topeka and Washington, D.C. Now is the time to partner with Kansas Wheat in moving wheat forward. Kansas Wheat Commission and Kansas Association of Wheat Growers. Farmers investing in their future and yours. Log on to rediscoverwheat.org.
Turn to a Central National Bank Ag Professional. You'll be in good company. They'll help you track expense lines, manage variable input costs, assess ground agreements, pick a crop protection plan. These times demand Ag Professionals. Central National Bank. You could profit from what they know. Ag operations run better on Central Time.
Central National Bank. Money for life.
Member FDIC in your hometown since 1884.
That's My Farm is brought to you in part by Tallgrass Commodities. Big enough to serve, small enough to care.
Welcome back to That's My Farm. I'm Katie Sawyer here with Dave Patterson. We're on the Pringle Ranch south of Yates Center in Woodson County, Kansas. Now, Dave, your portion of the whole family operation is the haying and the crops that we're standing beside. So you come from a haying background. So talk to me about kind of what you do and how that works in with the cattle portion of things.
Well, part of our operation is custom hay, or we hay native grass. We feed a portion of it to the cattle that we run here, and then we ship either part of it to east to dairies in Indiana or Illinois because they like the calcium that's in it, that's from this hay in this area. And then we ship a lot of it to the feedlots out in western Kansas.
Now we're east of the Flint Hills, so we're kind of in the foothills, but talk to me about what kind of grasses you guys have here that make it so unique.
This is the native blue stem, and it just is good. Cattle really like it. They start on it easily. Calves like it, and the dairy people like it for what it has in it, and it's just a really good grass for cattle.
And then outside of the haying, you guys have a crop operation. Talk to me about how many acres and kind of what you guys are growing.
Yeah, we farm about 700 acres row crop, wheat, corn, and beans, and we pretty much everything we grow, we just take it all into the elevators and sell it pretty much. We don't ever use any of it ourselves for feed or anything, and that's what we do with that.
Are the acres grazed at all by the cattle? Do you guys use the actual land for anything?
Our local fields that are around the headquarters operation here, we do graze the cattle on, mostly the bean stubble. They'll be out on it almost all winter days. If the ground's open, they just really get a lot of stuff out of the bean stubble and that.
And what you guys don't hay, you guys have the grazing then. So can you talk to me about kind of the winter grazing? Because I know you guys try to keep the animals out in the pasture as much as possible. So how does this grass stand up in the winter, and you know, what do you guys need to do to supplement then when the grass does kind of dry out?
We have all areas for the cattle. We don't run any cattle on what we hay normally for the square hay. And then in the wintertime, they're pretty much on cubes and grazing the grass that's there until really bad weather. And then we'll start feeding the hay to them.
Wonderful. Thank you, and join us for more on That's My Farm.
Tar Waters has what you need for all seasons for around the farm and home. Working, hunting, growing, feeding, snow removal, even fun for the kids. And a service department with experienced techs to help keep your equipment in top running condition. Tar Waters has a huge selection and the best prices. Tar Water Farm and Home, family owned and operated since 1978. They have what you need.
When your living depends on agriculture, you can depend on KFRM 550 AM. If you're in the southwest three-fourths of Kansas or the northern half of Oklahoma, catch us at 5:50 a.m. on the radio dial. But if that isn't you, listen on your cell phone at TuneIn Radio or on your computer at KFRM.com. We promise to keep you informed, entertained, and company as you go through your day. KFRM 550 AM, the voice of the plains. We would like to join your management team.
Hello friends, I'm Ernie Rodina.
And I'm Dawn Dawson with the Better Horses Radio Show.
For over 9 years, we've been bringing the Better Horses Radio Show to markets all across the Midwest. We talk about God, lots about horses.
We talk about cows, we talk about horse health, we talk to top trainers, and we even talk about Roy Rogers.
We're having a blast with Better Horses Radio Show and would love to take it to a market near you.
So visit our website at betterhorsesradio.com and let us or your local radio station know you'd like to hear it in your area.
The Better Horses Radio Show is unbelievable.
Valley Vet Supply is devoted to providing information and professional quality products at reasonable prices.
Valley Vet Supply.
That's My Farm is brought to you in part by Tallgrass Commodities. Big enough to serve, small enough to care.
Welcome back to That's My Farm. I'm Katie Sawyer here with Beth Patterson, and we're on the Pringle Ranch outside of Yates Center, Kansas. Beth, we're in one of your grazing pastures, sitting in front of a cow herd that you guys custom graze and then custom calve. So can you talk to me about your grazing operation, your cow herd, and what you guys do for your customers?
Okay. These cows came to us in April, and we put them out either on fescue or if native is available, but we'll get them in the spring and keep them throughout the summer. Then usually the calves go back to the owners the first part of October, and then the cows will stay anywhere from the 1st of December to the 1st of January, and we'll keep them on native grass or fescue or run crop fields, and before they go back home, usually to northern Kansas. And the owner then calves them out, and then before you know it, they're back here with their baby calves.
What's the relationship like? I mean, these are not only someone's livelihood, they're someone's animals, and so you are responsible for caring for them and ensuring that they have healthy animals. So talk about the relationship of custom caring for animals like this.
I think we feel like we take care of our customers' cattle just as good, if not better, than our own. We know we're responsible for somebody else's livelihood, and they've entrusted us with the care of their cattle, and so we make every effort to make sure the cattle are cared for and that those people, they feel comfortable with us taking care of them. On our cattle, we have spring and fall calvers, and we try and calve them out, and this grass is really good like for calving out, because that baby calf can get down in this native grass out of the wind, and it's amazing what a baby calf can endure as long as it's got, you know, the big native grass to kind of lay in. Stay dry.
Talk a little bit about calving out in kind of more of a pasture setting as opposed to more of a pen and, you know, a sheltered setting. You said this grass provides good coverage, but also there's wide open spaces, which means you have lots of areas for cows to drop calves. So what are the advantages and what are some of the hurdles of calving out like this?
Well, I think the cow is, she can go off on her own and kind of be by herself, and that time of year we're feeding and checking the cows anyway. It's always good to have a facility available if you need to get a cow in if she's having trouble, but most of the time we don't have any trouble calving, and this is just they find shelter either amongst the trees or the hills or down in a creek bottom or something. There's just a lot of protection for that cow and that's how they used to do, you know, years ago out on the open range.
What does a typical day look like during calving season for you guys?
Well, we'll try and feed first thing in the morning and check them and make sure they have open water if ponds are frozen, but the main thing is just to get out there and get them fed where they've got some energy, and if they need hay, and we may go back and check them again later in the day. But the main thing is just to watch them real close.
Wonderful, thank you. Stay tuned for more on That's My Farm.
This is the fast track to more jobs and America's energy independence. Advanced performance is here, now. Biodiesel, America's advanced biofuel.
No matter where, no matter why, the Veterinary Health Center at Kansas State University is committed to providing quality patient care to animals and exceptional customer service to their owners. From routine checkups to emergency and specialty care, our world-renowned specialists and experienced professionals are here to discover, to teach, and to heal.
Let us know.
How can I help?
How can we help?
Tallgrass Commodities offers producers bulk commodities at a reasonable price with reliable service throughout the whole Midwest. To find out more about Tallgrass Commodities, visit tallgrass.us or call 785-494-8484.
Soil is the life of a farm, and for 25 years, Sure Crop Liquid Crop Nutrition has helped growers produce abundant quality crops while preserving and improving the soils they steward. Sure Crop offers complete soil and plant analysis with cropping recommendations, delivery direct to your on-farm storage, and quality crop nutrition custom blended for your field. Choose Sure Crop for the assurance of excellence for your soil. Call today or visit their website for more information.
That's My Farm is brought to you in part by Tallgrass Commodities, big enough to serve, small enough to care.
Welcome back to That's My Farm. I'm Katie Sawyer. We're here with Beth Patterson in one of her grazing pastures on her farm outside of Yates Center, Kansas. Beth, in addition to caring for your animals and taking care of crop and pasture ground, you also do a lot of work outside of the farm in terms of advocacy and helping the beef industry in general. Talk to me about how you got started in those positions and kind of what you're doing now.
My parents were long time advocacies in the Kansas Livestock Association and NCBA and Cattlewomen. So growing up, I was always amongst that kind of volunteerism, and then when I came back in the mid '80s, I joined KLA, and just going to the meetings and convention, and then I was asked to serve on the Stock Growers Council, and then was chair 1 year. And I just think the more involved you are, the more it means to you, and I have always said I learn probably more than I give. I know being on the Stock Growers Council, I felt like I just learned so much by being on it and visiting with the other people on it. And then I was asked to have my name put on for the Cattleman's Beef Board and through KLA, and the Secretary of Agriculture nominated me to serve on the Cattleman's Beef Board, and I was very honored, and have really enjoyed my first year learning about the beef board, the beef checkoff, and all the things that it does.
Why is it important not only to talk about what you guys do, but how it impacts with the consumers? Because on the beef board, you guys are talking a lot about the end product, the actual consumer-facing part of your business. Why is that important for you guys?
Well, I think we want to educate the consumer, and if we can do it all together, it's easier than just one by one us doing it, especially with the beef checkoff. It gives us funds to educate, promote, do research, and what we've learned also, we're doing a lot of multimedia with Twitter, and we can reach the consumer that's leaving work, and she can go to an app and she can find recipes or get ideas what to fix for supper that night. So we have really evolved with the times, kept up what the consumer wants and what she needs.
Wonderful. Well, thank you, Beth, for letting us spend time on your farm and ranch today, and thank you guys for joining us on That's My Farm.
Closed captioning brought to you by Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff, Progress, powered by Kansas farmers.